Hey, welcome in, welcome in. So I'm just going to be using a mix of these two colours to make a nice sort of dark green, sort of like the Games Workshop Incubi Darkness. I've already primed the model in AK Interactive Black Primer, and yeah, we're going to be using that as our sort of main black for the black portion of the model. So what I'm doing now with those two colours mixed in is just adding the first sort of highlights and just getting the first sort of bit of sheen on the black areas of the model. I'm just sort of picking areas that try and represent sort of like a light source, but also just putting it where I think it looks cool. I'm just giving the model a quick look over, just placing it down and trying to view it from a different viewpoint, and then just seeing where I'd like to add some more, or just making sure I'm happy with the placements. Yeah, it's always good just to check what you're doing and make sure you're happy. I always try and think of it as a bit like being a chef, where you don't just add ingredients, you sort of stop and like taste as you go and see if it needs more or less. So yeah, just applying the same sort of logic to this. So yeah, just with this one we're doing like part black and part white. My inspiration for this was I've just been watching through the Terrifier series. I quite like the first two films, looking forward to the third one coming out. And I just like I like Art the Clown's sort of black and white suit. I was gonna do that on the on this Chaos Night. One of my friends at work, when I suggested it, showed me that there's actually like a faction called the Sons of Malice, and they're actually black and white, so it was a nice happy accident. So I took inspiration from the Sons of Malice. So yeah, it's just fun and interesting paint job. So yeah, just a side note on the creativity and the sort of the thinking behind the way I'm painting it. It's I want it to look like, so you know, the Chaos Knight has come out of the factory in a standard Black Legion colours, and as the faction have like decided and changed into the Sons of Malice, the Chaos Space Marines took it upon themselves to like spray paint and like graffiti the colour scheme into it. Sort of in the same way as like I don't know if you've ever BMX'd or you know you've had a bike and maybe the colour you wanted wasn't in stock, or you could only afford like a certain colourway, so when you got it home took it apart and just sprayed it the colour that you wanted. Like that's the sort of like yeah, the idea that I'm going for. Cool, and just stepping up the highlights of this one now. I'm just going to be covering a smaller surface area and just spraying it within the borders of the previous highlight. But yeah, not to worry too much if you get carried away with this step. Later on, when we go back to add sort of like the darker colours back in, we'll be able to undo some of it if it's gone too far. I'm just going to be using this yellow, and I'm just going to be using this to add like a very, very small highlight, so within the borders of the previous one. And yeah, just being very sparing, like we don't want to actually add like yellow to it, just adding an extra sheen to it. You could just use white as well, but I quite like using a pastel yellow. This is similar to the Dawn Yellow from Games Workshop or Citadel. Yeah, we're just going to be using this colour just to get in the shadows. This is like really, really watered down and very sort of glaze-like consistency for an airbrush. And yeah, we're just going in for the shadows on the black side, and then we're going to be like everywhere where we want it to be white, we're going to be covering the panel with this one because we want this to be the shadow colour for the white as well. And yeah, the reason I did this color on the white side and then not like the black side where I've done like the sort of the black highlights and then added the shadow, and then on the white side I'm doing the shadow and then adding the highlights, is just because I find it better when you're painting with white just to like go over the shadow, so the white's the more sort of prominent color. It just seems like sometimes when you do the shadow after you've done the white, the shadow color sort of takes over, and then you lose the white. Whereas it doesn't do that with the black. And also it'll be using black to like sort of transition between all of the colors and just get the black back into the black side of the model. But yeah, these Army Painter Fanatic paints, they do cover really well. So even though these are like really like thinned down like a lot, they still cover like really well. So yeah, don't be afraid to thin them. You can definitely thin them further than what you think. Yeah, and they are really a matte paint as well, which is really nice. So they sit on top of the AK Interactive black primer really nicely, because that black primer's like really matte. So yeah, nice combination. But yeah, you can just see like how well that the paint's just covering over the black, and it is like I can't outline how thin it is. And we're just doing the same thing with the blacks. This is really watered down as well. And we're just going to go into like all of the shadows and transition between the different colors on the black parts. And yeah, just bring if the model is looking too far away from black, then this is what's gonna bring it back. And yeah, and also just a side note, just with like being patient with how the model looks as you go in. A lot of the sort of way that I do the black and making it like pop and look more sort of non-metallic, a lot of it doesn't like come through until you start adding like the other colors to the model. So when we start doing like the gold trim and like the silver bits, all of a sudden those like the highlights and stuff just like pop loads more. But I think it looks like really cool already, and yeah, I like how it's coming along. But yeah, just in case you were trying it and you're wondering why it's not the same, or I don't know, just why it doesn't feel like it's coming through as much, you just wait and hang on until you start doing like I said, some of the other colors, some of the trim and that. All of a sudden you'll notice it pops through like a lot more. Yeah, just a reminder again that, yeah, it's really, really watered down the paint, and yeah, it's still covering like really well. So yeah, just, I know it looks like I'm being quite fast, but yeah, just take your time and just blend it nicely. Just giving it a quick go over like the sort of like the darker shadow areas and on the trim and stuff. And yeah, just to get a nice blend between the that red and the black for when I put the white on. And then yeah, just repeating the same steps as the black side, but with the white paints now, just gradually moving up to pure white. And yeah, you could also just another mention that you could go and sort of mask off all the areas, but I definitely just prefer like this sort of style of painting, just the sort of the least amount of, I don't know, like not unnecessary but sort of unnecessary steps, like the better. I'm quite a creative person. I like to, I don't know, when I'm in the moment and have an idea and want to paint something, I don't want to spend like an hour masking stuff off. So I just sort of get closer into the model and take my time and be more accurate. And then that way I don't have to undo mistakes. But then also if you do make a mistake, it's nice to sort of have the, I don't know, engage the sort of the creative part of your brain and like fix it. And I find like I learn a lot faster that way as well. I know it's just sounds like an excuse to just be lazy, which I don't know, it could be, but yeah, honestly, like definitely try just freehanding a lot more. Don't get bogged down in getting all the details like perfect. Like I don't know, if you sort of like the way that I paint, it's definitely a lot more sort of natural way and like sort of organic. And like I said, like with the sort of the spray painted graffitied style of this one, where I like the idea that the Chaos Space Marines have have painted it. Like yeah, it definitely like ties into that sort of narrative nicely. So yeah, I know if we were if I was recording in a band and I went to a recording studio and they were like, yeah, we're not recording the drums to a metronome because we want a nice organic style, I'd definitely probably walk out and just consider them just all lazy and bad musicians. But I promise you that is not what's happening here. We're definitely, you know, we're being like this for a purpose. It's not just laziness. And yeah, just to sort of follow on from that, that's a lot of the reason why I try and build as much as the model as possible. So I just did this in like 2 parts. I know a lot of people like to do all the shoulder pads separate and like that sort of the top, I don't know, yeah, this just top armor panel all separately, and then really get in and get all of the I don't know, all the mechanical like underside or skeletal part of the model and do it all separate and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, I just find that like really boring and uninspiring. I much prefer to sort of work with the model as complete as possible. I definitely just find that I have the most fun painting this way. And yeah, getting bogged down with all the technical bits and yeah, trying to like paint like tons of individual parts just gets a bit tedious and boring. So yeah, here he is so far. I'm really happy with him at the moment. Just sort of like holding him together just to see if I can get like a better picture of what he looks like when he'll be glued together. But yeah. So yeah, and then just add in the final sort of highlight. Definitely like less steps than the black side in terms of highlights. But yeah, just making it just proper read and pop, nice and shiny white. And yeah, you can see already how like the black side, even with just the white contrasting against it, just looks so much more black than it did without it. And then yeah, again, that will enhance as we add the silver and like the gold trimming. Yeah, this is a very nice white. You do have to dilute this one a lot for it not to sort of speckle. So I'm still sort of learning with these paints on like how far I need to do things in terms of getting them through the airbrush nice and smooth. And so far it is just lots and lots of watering down. And then here we go for the silvers, and all I've done is I've just took the metallic colour and then added one part black to it and one part white to another part of it, and just going through like the sort of the black silver, and I'll be moving up to just the silver on its own, and then just doing some very very sort of edge highlights and catching the edges and just getting some scratches on with the brightest one with the white added in. Yeah, I do really enjoy dry brushing. I basically didn't use it very much, but I think which model was it? Might have been the Angron one. I started getting into it, and after that model I just really enjoyed it. And yeah, I don't know why I didn't use it for so long. It's just like brilliant results, like super fast, and especially using the little dampening sponge and the little texture palette to keep the paint moist whilst you're doing it. So it's not really, I guess it's not really dry brushing, but it is dry brushing. But yeah, you definitely get a nicer result. I think the reasons for steering away of it is you get the sort of stereotypical chalkiness and I don't know, weird artifacts of dry brushing in like the sort of traditional sense, but this sort of more modern way of doing it is yeah, it's like spot on. It's really good. I definitely recommend the little dampening sponge and a texture palette. And yeah, just doing the same thing again. Just doing all of this trim. And also if you go a bit too far, because this paint is brilliant, like I absolutely love the metallic paint. It comes off the brush exactly how I want. So it's like, I don't know, really pressure dependent on how much you cover, and I like it so it leaves a lot of like of gap. It's almost like stippling or like just getting a texture onto the model. Like you can see like the dark areas look super cool. And if you get a bit where you go too far with it and you add too much of the paint on and you want to break the surface up again, in a moment all I'll do is I'll just add a bit of the black to the gold paint, and yeah, just stipple it into the bit where it's too much, and yeah, that'll like break the colour up again. But yeah, I'll try and I'll be watching, and I'll try and catch when I do it so I can point it out. But yeah, I really love that metallic paint. It's just so good, and like I said, it just comes off the brush exactly how my mind wants it to, which is unbelievable after using the Citadel paints for so long and trying hard to do this, and then just being able to do it with this paint. It's a treat. And yeah, for me as well, it eliminates having to do all the steps with washes and stuff. I mean, obviously you could still do washes and it'll probably enhance it further, but I just love this look. So yeah, well pleased. So yeah, just I've got too much on. I don't like the look of it, so I've just added a bit of black into the gold. And then I'm just gonna like stipple into like the mid part of it and just break it back up again. But there you go, you can see like the effect there, definitely very obvious. It's broken it back up, and yeah, like loads better. So that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you very much for making it this far, and yeah, hopefully I'll bring out some more tutorials soon. Hey, so I'd just like to take this opportunity to let you know about my Spotify. If you go into my description, I do have a link down to it. It doesn't show up as a link. I guess you need to be partnered or affiliated with YouTube to have actual links. But yeah, if you just copy and paste it into your web browser, it will take you to my Spotify. There is an actual link as well in my in like the about me or bio part of my YouTube page as well. Or failing that, if you have a Spotify account, you just open it up and search for Blackpill. You should find me. You'll recognise my little symbol. And yeah, if you just want to check out the sort of music and other things I do other than painting models, yeah, it could be interesting for you. So yeah, with that being said, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.